Hey, what's up? This is Sonny Mayo, and this is Good Company with Scott Boland.
Good company!
Hey guys, my name's Scott Boland, and you're watching Good Company. Today we have the man, Sonny Mayo. Sonny has been in a ton of bands we're going to talk about, but he's got a day job now, Rock to Recovery.
I do have a day job
Yeah,
now.
man.
Yeah,
You're working with Wes Gear, right?
yeah. So, Wes Gear is the founder of Rock to Recovery. Now, obviously, we're going to get into my storied history. So, I have been in bands my whole adult life. Moved to California in 1995, joined Snot, subsequently released 10 or 12 records. And at this point in my life, around 2013, I'd been sober for around 12 years at the time, and Wes had been sober for a couple years. And he was outed from Korn because Brian came back. Hed came back to Korn, and so Wes was out. And so Wes had this idea to start a company called Rock to Recovery that would be a music program that would go into treatment centers and work with people, and to switch it from traditional music therapy to non-traditional, or to like a unique program. What we do is we actually start a band with people in treatment. We work with people in mental health facilities. We go to the VA. We donate our sessions to the VA of many different places, San Diego and LA. And we have guys in Orange County, LA, San Diego, two guys in Northern California, a guy in Portland, Oregon, and a guy in Nashville now. And we started off, and it was Wes doing 2 groups a week at a place in Orange County. And then I got on board. So when he told me about it in 2013, and I was at this pivotal place in my life where I just had all these crazy life situations happening, man. My marriage was on the rocks. My dog had just died. My dad had cancer, was about to make his transition, and my marriage was about to end. And Wes told me about it, and it was, when
That's perfect.
it was
timing.
Man, and I didn't know where I wasn't in a band. I was touring with Ugly Kid Joe, but it's not a full-time gig. They're not a baby band that's next record's coming out next.
Yeah.
It's not a working band per se. And I didn't have anything sustainable as far as band goes. I was producing some bands, and I was also working as a veterinary technician, which is another thing that I do. I'm a vet tech when I have to be. When I've had to be through life, which is great. I love animals. I love helping things, and they always need help at animal hospitals.
Do you do the surgeries on animals?
I
and
have.
stuff? Wow.
Yeah. I was a surgical tech for many years. Yeah. So I did all that stuff. Yeah. So when he said it, man, when that just that lightning bolt in your heart. Well, he said, "I got this idea, man, Rock to Recovery." And I remember exactly where I was standing in my sister's house in Fort Collins, Colorado. My dad was downstairs. He had multiple myeloma, bone cancer, and I was there caring for him while my sister was out of town. And he goes, "Hey, man, I got this idea, for this company, nonprofit." He said, and he told me about it, and he said, "Rock to Recovery," and I just went, "Dude, I want in, bro. I felt this."
Instantly, you told him you're in.
I was like, "I'm in, bro. I want in," is what I said. I was like, "I want in." Come on. And so he started to develop it in mid-13, and then I just started shadowing him. I drive down from LA to Orange County. I'd do a group with him, and he's like, "I can't pay you, man." And I was like, "I don't care." And he'd feed me. He'd take me to lunch or something. And then we started to grow the company, and then I started in LA in mid-14, and then we started adding guys. And so that was, me and him, and then one other guy. And now we're, I think, 13 or 14 deep, and we're national. And my favorite work that we do, because we work mainly, our bread and butter is drug and alcohol treatment centers, right? And a lot of them, most of them, we do on our for-profit side, so we charge them, right? So I'm a group facilitator. I go in, I have a couple amps, I got a K10 monitor, 10-inch monitor, killer keyboard that I plug into the monitor, a couple mics, boom, and then a bunch of percussion. And so the goal is, say where there's 6 of us in this group, or 12, or 6, whatever, and our goal is to start a band and to write an original song within an hour to 2 hours.
Wow.
Every time, every group. So on any given week, I write 11 songs with people, and then there's one of our guys, Brandon Jordan. We call him the T1000 because he's just he just texted me. He's like, "Yeah, dude, I just decided I was gonna do this group on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Half the day work, and I'm like, "I'm not. You're crazy." But he's the T1000, man. He just keeps going. It's amazing.
Okay.
And so he does 15 to 20 groups a week.
Oh my gosh.
And so those are all songs. Some of them are we made it. We made it through.
Barely. Yeah.
We got the goal. And
Do you record them?
Yes, we record every one of them. We put it on our SoundCloud page.
Oh, so you keep them.
Yeah, so we upload them to SoundCloud, and then that's what one of the great things is if people love what they did, or if they want to share it with family or somebody, they can go, hey, check this out. I went to rehab and I started a band, and I wrote a song and sang. Yeah, and it's about the struggle that I've had with heroin and how I'm working on changing my life and how I want to do what's right now and
that's
and,
awesome.
all those things. So the empowering thing about getting people to play music versus traditional music therapy, which is sort of we'd put on YouTube and we would watch a video and we would analyze the lyrics or something like that. That's beautiful and it's deep and it can be cathartic and therapeutic. Where we actually get people playing. So we also have percussion, some djembe, shakers, tambourine, whatever. But what we do is we get people playing instruments. It's ambitious every time. But we split the keyboard. We have a little button that splits it, so there's one person on bass, one person on the high end, and we can assign instruments to it. This can be a bass guitar, it could be strings, it could be piano, whatever. Same on top, it could be synth, it could be a friggin' dog.
Do you let them pick? It's like, what do you guys
sort
wanna
of,
do?
yeah, so exactly. So we write it with them as opposed to telling them what to play, right? And then we write literally black dry erase marker, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell them how many to count. There's a killer drum machine in the keyboard. Yeah. Make chords over here, and we start to develop a song, man. And sometimes I go, I can't believe we just did that. And I've been doing it for 5 years, and I'm just like blown away. And what it does when there's a science behind it. I know I'm babbling at you. Your next question's on deck, I know. I got you. Okay. So what it does physiologically when someone plays music, it literally affects us physiologically by firing off neurotransmitters. The one in particular is called oxytocin. And oxytocin is the bonding chemical. They call it the love molecule or the hug drug, the cuddle chemical. Yeah. Because what happens is when you cuddle with somebody, when you hug them for 20 seconds or more, you feel that settling in, or there's it kicks in when actually it's something that's produced during childbirth. There's actually Pitocin is actually a synthetic oxytocin that they use for women to try to calm them, right? And so what it does is it bonds. It happens when we dance as well, but when we sing together and play music together as one, it lifts, it raises our frequency, our mental, spiritual and physical frequency, and connects us, man.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So people sometimes, Bob Marley said, the thing about music is when it hits, you feel no pain. Yeah. Beautiful. And I will say to Bob, I'm going to go one step further. I feel all the pain also, right? When you, like we were talking about with Clint, we were talking about that thing of like being sad and listening to some sad music, to feel it, to really let it go through us, man, to actually experience it instead of shoving it away into some dark corner and then not being able to deal with it, so smoking crystal meth. Or snorting heroin, or slamming heroin, or drinking, or going to the bar, or whatever. We actually experience it first, so it processes. It's a form of processing, right? Wow. And it connects us, and it's fun, man. People think they can't have fun in recovery. Yeah. We can have fun, and like joy. And then my favorite work is with the Air Force Wounded Warriors. So the goal initially with Rock to Recovery that Wes first had was, I want to help veterans. Because, regardless of what they're being ordered to do, and whether I agree with it or not, they're people, man. That guy, he wanted a job. So he joined the Air Force. Because there was no jobs in his city in freaking Iowa. So he joined the Air Force and got his damn arms blown off, right? Or got his, PTSD, he got traumatic brain injury or PTSD or whatever. And so those are the people we wanted to help initially. And so finally we hooked up with the Air Force Wounded Warriors. And at first they started flying us around the country to do our work with the vets. And just recently in July, they just flew us to Ramstein, Germany. Wow. There's an air base there. It's the biggest air base, actually Air Force base outside of the United States. Wow. And so they fly us in for these events. They're called care events or warrior games, where there's like a bunch of stuff. The Department of Defense, thankfully, is doing a lot more like holistic, as they call it, healing, rock to recovery, music, stand-up comedy, improv, creative writing, all kinds of stuff, like painting. They're getting more into that and leaning back some on the pharmaceuticals, thank God. That's good. Yeah, and that's my favorite work, man. Yeah. Is to connect with these people who just were trying to help their, trying to feed their family. So helping them kind of helps you in return, yeah? Bro, oh my God, it's the most gratifying work I've ever done. And like in Germany, I got to work with their kids. So I had two groups, 10 and 10 people, or 10 kids in each one. First group was 13 to 18-year-olds, and the second group was 6 to 12-year-olds. And we wrote most of the music with the first group, and the first verse and the first chorus, and the music. And then in the second group, which was a lot of their siblings, like little brothers and sisters, they came in and we finished the music and wrote second and third verses and finished the chorus off. And then 20 of us, well, me and 20 of them, performed it at the closing ceremonies of the event in front of 150 people.
Wow!
From generals to airmen to their wives, and it was amazing. And we had generals.
Amazing.
Me and Wes had generals coming up to us.
Oh, really?
Saying, "Hey, can I have my photo with you?" Like, General so-and-so was like, "Can I get my picture?" And I was like, "Yes, you can, General, but you have to wear this guitar." And put a guitar in the general and then take a picture like with the general.
That's awesome.
It was so killer, dude.
When you were when you're on your way to work every day, writing new songs every day, do you have ideas flowing on your way to work, or is this just if you just show up and you're like, we just got to create something right now? Or you know what I mean? Do you have? Do you think about every day? Do you think, okay, I got to write a brand new song today?
Bro, I wake up with anxiety, going, "Oh my God, are they gonna like this?
So you kind of come up with a format and kind of pitch it to them.
I have some go-to chord progressions.
Yeah.
And vibes. If they say, "Let's do reggae," I go, "Cool." It's gonna be more like Sublime, like SoCal reggae, right? And so I got a few go-to things. I know what drum beat to go to. I go, and then I can mold it. Is it happy reggae? Is it dark? Is it a little, right? I can kind of. So and usually what I'll try to do is we have a little group check-in at the beginning where we go around the group and someone says their name and maybe they say how long they're clean and sober, and we make a bunch of noise for them and tell them they're rad. And then there's like a check-in question, 2 things that you're grateful for, and then what's something that you want to let go of that you've been holding on to, and what's a new direction that you want to go in, or what's a goal for today, something cool. You know?
That's cool.
And then we can tie that into the lyrics too. What inspires you? Who inspires you? What? And so I'll write down little notes to and sometimes I'll just get poetic when I hear them share something. The muse will appear. Because I ask, God, as I understand God, I hope to open me up and let the creativity come through.
Yeah.
So that I can be of service, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll write down some stuff, and then if the well is dry and they're like, "I don't know," or they're all drooling because they're on detox meds or something like that, I go, "Well, check it out," and I can inspire by having some lyrics, and then they go, "Oh, I said that I'm grateful for this, and you wrote that."
Yeah.
Wow. And then we can kind of go from there. So, but I'm driving to groups and I'm listening to songs and I'm going, okay, that'd be cool to do. And usually when I do that, Scott, I show up and I think that we're going to go in a certain direction, and it goes in a complete opposite direction. Yeah. So, but I have stuff on tap. Is the short answer after the long answer.
All right. So before we got Snot, I actually have I got your very, very, very first album. I found right here. It looks like you got a beard and some long hair, man. Have you ever seen that?
Oh my God, I've never seen that shit. He looks like Keith Moon.
Sonny Mayo, so far so good. Like right there.
And then Dave stole it and said, "So what?"
So what? Yeah.
Dave, let me see the back of that.
Yeah,
That's
man,
incredible.
Look. You're everywhere.
Dude, I've never seen this before.
That's good.
What vibe is this? What?
Man, I searched Sonny Mayo on eBay and this popped up.
Look at him.
I got a deal on that one.
This was back when I was not gray and had a hairline. Well, I still have a hairline. It's just back here.
Hold on a sec. We can do there you go. That's good.
And then, wait. Sonny Mayo, vocals, acoustic guitars, strings.
We're going to get you to sign that before you leave.
You know it, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's going on the wall.
My signature looks kind of like that anyway.
Yeah, man.
That's incredible. You're so funny.
So after this, you did Snot.
Do my second, right from that into Snot. Yeah. Just immediately into Snot. That's amazing.
All right, man.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
There it is, dude.
1997, right?
Yeah. So in 1995, I moved to Santa Barbara, California. You guys know who Shannon Larkin is, right? Yeah. You should have him on the show. He'd come
amazing.
up
He plays in
Godsmack.
Yeah.
So Shannon's the drummer of Godsmack. Yeah.
Amazing.
He's one of my dearest, oldest friends.
Yeah.
And through him joining Ugly Kid Joe and meeting Mikey Doling and Lynn Strait in Santa Barbara in 1994, I got the Snot gig. First, it was the bass player John Toomer Fonestock. He joined first, and then he was like, "We need to get Sonny out here." And so they called me and were like, "Hey, we want you to join our band." And I tell you, it was one of those moments where I almost like knew it was coming. I had all my affairs in order, and I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I had even told my girlfriend at the time, who we were in it together when we got together a year before that, before I moved out there. I said, there may be a day when a call comes in for me to go, because Shannon had already moved out, and I was like, I want to come too. And so I told her that if the call comes, I'm going. And the call came, and she was like, "You're going, huh?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep." She was great. She was fantastic. I still love her. And so yeah, moved there, 1995. Never met these guys in my life except for the bass player, John. And we started writing these songs. And
Lynn Strait called you too, didn't he?
yeah, well, they all called me, yeah.
Yeah.
But Lynn was the one on the phone. It was Easter Sunday, 95. And I had been out all day, whatever, with family, and I got home and playing like NBA Live, 95. It's when they shifted it, and it was like almost 3D.
Yeah.
And so I'm rocking it. My girl answers the phone, landline, hello? Oh, yeah. And she's like, it's for you. And I'm like, yeah. Hello? And this voice says, Sonny, I've been trying to get a hold of you all day. And I go, well, who's this? And he says, this is Lynn. And I said, what do you want? And he said, I want metal. And I said, you called the right place. And that Lynn Strait, like, yeah. When I said you call the right place, he was just
Lynn Strait voice.
dude. And I'm all, yeah. That is verbatim our first conversation ever. Yeah. Literally, I was like, what do you want? Metal. What do you want? I was like, what do you want? He said, metal. I said, crack! and then he passed the phone to all the guys.
Oh,
and then finally John got on the phone and was like, hey, we want you to move out here and join the band. And I was like, cool. And I was all, what's up with that name? And he goes, nobody, lawyers, managers, nobody said a word about it. And I'm all, cool. Done with that. I'm all, Snot. What do you, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, cool. And I said, well, send me some music. So they had to mail me a tape.
Oh, a cassette tape?
1995.
Oh, 95,
So they mailed me a tape. I started getting all my fares in order. I took it, my goal was to leave like Memorial Day weekend. And John, in fact, had flown back to deal with some personal issues, and he lived in Maryland.
Yeah.
And so we drove out together. And I arrived on May 27th, 1995. Wow. 2 years to the day later, this was released. On that day, May 27th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were signed about a year after I got there. About a year and a half, I guess. Right at the end of '96, we got married. Got signed.
Yeah.
And to Geffen Records, and then we released that on May 27th, '97, which is also the day that Dobbs, right here, Lynn had bred him with another boxer, and she gave birth on that same day, on the day the album came out with his picture on it.
Oh, that's a lot.
And it was 5 boys, and there were 5 of us in the band.
That's crazy.
We didn't all get a dog. I was in no position. I could barely take care of myself at the time. I didn't have a dog at the time.
That's cool that Geffen signed you. David Geffen. I mean, I just watched a documentary on him. Man.
I don't think David was involved anymore.
Oh, he was? Okay,
no,
he'd sold it? Yeah.
He had, yeah. We got to Geffen through our manager, Nick Adler, who was the son of Lou Adler, who did Mamas and the Papas, Monterey Pop Festival, all that stuff. So that's how we got.
Do you guys do a lot of? How many shows do you guys do before you got signed? Was it a lot?
All of them. We did all the shows. We would play at the drop of a hat.
That's good. Rage Against the Machine did like 2 shows, and then Rage Against the Machine did like 2 shows or 2 or 3, and just like instantly got picked up.
Yeah, they were in the scene. We were in Santa Barbara, and so we had to actually link up with other bands. I guess we didn't have to, but what we did was. We networked. This is before any internet stuff, but we started linking up with bands in Hollywood, and started doing trade. We would trade shows. We would bring this band called Manhole. We would bring them to Santa Barbara. They'd bring us to L.A. They were the ones that put us in front of 500 people at the Roxbury South, was what it was called back then, and they put us in front of 500 people. Gave us a fan base immediately. The two guys named Shavo and Darren walked up to me and John with a tape, and they said, hey, we think your band's awesome. We want to do some shows with you. Here's our demo. And they hand us this thing, and it says System of a Down on it. And we were like, cool, man. So we connected with them, started trading shows, and we built this thing. And so it was Snot and System was like what it was about, man.
Was that back in 95 or 90?
That was 95, 96. Those guys did it right, though. They waited. We kind of, I'll be honest, we kind of jumped the gun.
Oh, did you?
Well, I mean, we got offered an $18,000 record deal from Earache Records.
Wow.
We didn't take that one. We waited for Geffen.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was at work, all with my scrubs on and shit, like a veterinary technician. My boy calls, I'm like, huh? He goes, hey, Earache Records just offered us 18 grand. I was like, can they make it 20? And then we got a, $250,000 deal with Geffen.
Jeez, man.
which we might still be paying that back. I think we are.
And this is around the time like new metal was on the verge of just going crazy, right?
Yeah, Korn and Deftones.
Were you guys influenced by Korn and Deftones, all those bands, or you kind of had the punk vibe and the? I mean, it's hard to describe what Snot was, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that stuff. I can't say that I was influenced by. I had never heard Korn and Deftones till I got to Santa Barbara, so I had like metal, Helmet. Stuff like, Metallica, Pantera. In fact, little side story, 1992, Pantera shaved my head on stage.
Yeah,
I'm in the vulgar video.
You are, man.
Yeah.
I've heard that story.
Ridiculous.
I gotta go back and watch that. Is that on YouTube, man, or something?
The version, the one that I saw on YouTube, there's not even a head shaving section.
Oh, okay. Because Tommy Lee's on there, right?
Yes, it's me, Tommy Lee, and some other guy.
Yeah, and you loosen your hair a little bit. So just do it.
Yeah, my doctor, when I was 19 years old, literally, I went to the doctor and I was all, dude, the guy who bore me into the world and was like, hey, here's your baby boy. That guy looks at me and he goes, yeah, you can take Rogaine, you can do all those things, but you're gonna have to do them for the rest of your life. So, you ever heard that poem that's something about rage against the dying of the light? Do not go gently into that dark night. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, but you keep going,
it's
man.
on Interstellar, but it's a famous poem by whomever.
Yeah.
And so it's rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gently into that dark night.
All right.
My doctor was like, go gently into that dark night. He's like, accept the fact that you're going. And I was like, shit, because I was a headbanger, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like windmills and all that shit. We did all the fucking Judas Priest moves,
Your doctor seems really calm. Like,
he was
just
like,
kind of.
Yeah, you should just go.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it. Go gently. And so I didn't go gently. I waited 2 years, wore backwards suicidal tendencies hat forever.
Yeah.
And then one day, my boy Shannon actually got his head shaved by Pantera just because he was so hammered on stage with them. They did a cover of I'm Being Followed Around Again, Rollins, Black Flag.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Round and around
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
They did a cover of that, and
That's
he
cool.
couldn't play the drums because he was so hammered, so they shaved his head on stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in 91. And then the next year, right before Vulgar came out, Pantera came to my town, Springfield, Virginia, at the time. And they went on stage, and I was like, you know what? Tonight's the night. And I didn't even plan it, but I was on the side stage, and then as they were about to do their encore, I was like, Daryl, tell Phil I want him to shave my head. Daryl's like, get the clippers, Grady, get the clippers. And then their lighting guy was named Sonny.
Yeah.
Also, and he was like, Sonny, turn the lights down. We're good. And he barked some orders, and then they came out with the clippers and brought me on stage and shaved my head. Been shaving it ever since.
That's amazing.
It'll be 28 years in January.
God, that's great, dude.
So Snot, man,
Going back to this, man, I got something for you, man. You want to grab it? So, speaking of Snot, great album cover.
Thank you.
Is that a lemon?
It is a lemon.
Nice. I thought it was. Here we go. So I got you a gift here, man.
Oh my God, dude.
Yep.
Wow, bro. Holy shit, dude.
It's in the Sonny right there.
That's incredible, man. Thanks, dude. Look at that.
Yeah, dude.
That's amazing. We went platinum in Scott's basement.
2019 platinum.
We finally did it,
Yes,
guys.
dude.
I'm gonna call Mikey and John and Jamie. Tell them, dude, we made it.
Yeah, dude.
Finally. Thanks, man.
Oh, no
This is
problem, man.
amazing, bro. Yeah, this is incredible. This is like aluminum. We went aluminum.
Dude.
Thank you, bro. That's
No
incredible,
problem,
man. That's beautiful,
Here, man,
dude.
we'll take a-
Thank you, man. Thanks, brother.
Oh, no problem, man. It's good. We're gonna frame this one next, man. This
Yeah,
is the next
yeah.
platinum right there.
After that, I was like, I just sat. You see me waiting. I was like, what's he bringing over here? I thought it was gonna be like a dog with a
Another
lemon on
Sonny
his
album.
nose or something. So that story was Dobbs was he was Lynn's dog.
Yeah, yeah.
But that dog, if you look on the liner notes, every single one of us thanked Dobbs. That dude kept us all sane. I literally wrote to Dobbs for keeping us sane.
Did you really?
Yeah, as a thank you. Like maybe the first one too.
Oh, wow.
Because we all lived in the same house, and it's a wonder we didn't kill each other, man.
Yeah.
It was volatile, bro. Lynn Strait would either love you to death or he'd hate you to death. But either way, he was going to try to kill you.
So he's just a passionate dude.
He
about
was,
everything.
man. God, I loved him.
So people don't know, man. He passed away in a car
He
accident,
did,
right?
1998,
Yeah.
December 11th, 98.
And you guys kind of like you didn't go on the Ozfest tour.
I
right?
didn't, man. I was in a bad way, dude. I was on lots of drugs and alcohol. I am an alcoholic / addict. I've been in recovery for almost 18 years, and I was in a bad way, dude. And I left the band and joined Amen with Shannon Larkin.
Yeah.
And so, you know.
Oh, I didn't know. See, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
Snot was completely done when you joined Amen.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I did come back and do the last 2 shows ever. that
Yes,
Snot
aren't you
ever
glad,
played.
man?
My
That's
God,
amazing, dude.
So check it out. So I don't mind getting vulnerable. I don't mind talking about uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
I'm not uncomfortable talking about it actually.
Good.
I don't care. Like, what do I have to lose? Like, what do I? Are you gonna take something from me?
Yeah.
You're gonna be mad at me for sharing the truth? Okay. Well, Lynn and I, man, were at odds, dude, and Mikey as well. And then Jamie and Toomer were, you know, kind of laid back, and I was volatile, and I wasn't liking the way he said this, and he wasn't liking the way I acted, and we all have our part in it. But for my part, I couldn't stick around, and I joined Amen. I had another opportunity with Shannon. I actually hooked Shannon up with Ross Robinson to get into Amen after Ugly Kid Joe disbanded in '97. And so they had finished, and they were all like, we're just gonna call it, right? It wasn't like, I'm out of here. They ended, the band ended.
Good terms, I guess.
Yeah, and then they've gotten back together, and I played with them, all that stuff, which we'll get to as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I left the band, man, in like April or May of '98, and they went on Ozfest, and I wasn't there, you know. And a lot of people are like, I love you guys on Ozfest. I just go, thank you, because I'm not gonna be like, well, actually, you know, I'll tell you, but I'm like, I don't tell just anybody. Whenever they, Ozfest, I go, yeah, cool, glad you were there. I like it when people go, I saw you guys at the Roxy in '96. I'm like, yes.
That's cool.
So, right. So, yeah, I had left the band, man, and not on good terms. And I was fucked up. I was on crystal meth, and I was drinking, and I was not in a good way. And then I went to Amen. And then after Ozfest, Jamie Miller left Snot for his reasons, whatever his reasons were. And I got a call from Lynn, actually, and we were not cool, man. I went and did that Vanilla Ice record because Ross was doing that. I mean, that's going to be in here too, obviously.
Yes, very definitely.
I mean, I'll just keep going if you don't want to start selling shit.
Well,
But-
yeah.
That's so all
Yeah,
that
we'll
is.
talk about
That's before this actually. The the Vanilla Ice record.
Well,
is.
let's hold it up. So you did this.
Oh yeah, so this record's first Amen record. I joined Amen with Shannon, and Casey Chaos lives up to every moment, every word of
That
that,
dude's wild.
every
Yeah.
letter of that name, Chaos. Yeah, I was at Shannon's on this past week. I was in Florida for a couple days, and I stayed at Shannon's one night. And he had a cover of the NME, which is the New Music Express. It's a magazine in England, and it had Casey on the cover with like an upside down crucifix, and it said "Amen," the world's most fucked up band. Literally, and I was like, that's who we were. I mean, I went from one volatile situation to, I mean, it was out of the frying pan into the fire, literally.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and it was rad. I got to see the world like for the first time. My eyes were cloudy at the time, and I've been able to see it all again with these eyes.
Yeah.
But it was amazing, man. I got to work with Ross Robinson. That guy literally
dude.
pulls your heart out of your chest and shows it to you and says, "Come and get it. It's yours. Come and get it." And you're like, like he makes you come and fight and get the thing, you know.
Yeah.
Same with Slipknot and all this. So in the midst of recording that record, Ross is like, he came to us, he's like, you guys, I just got offered this opportunity, and it was a payday, man. You know,
Van Winkle.
Yep, Rob Van Winkle.
Yeah, there you go.
On the heels of the first 2 Korn records and Limp Bizkit and Sepultura, Vanilla Ice was like, I want a revival, man. I want to go hard. So he's like, get the guy who did the guys.
Yeah.
You're the guy who did Korn and Limp Bizkit. And
That's so funny, man.
Yeah, they came to him and they were like, what size check would you like to do this record? And he said it, and then he came to us and he goes, guys, I have an opportunity, and I want to bring you guys in.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like, okay. And he goes, I want to do this record, and I want you to play guitar on it, I want you to play drums on it. And then he goes, and we're like, okay, what is it? And he goes, Vanilla Ice. And I was all, okay, so who is it really?
Yeah, it was really.
Vanilla Ice. And it took me a second. I was all, And then we talked about it, and he's like, we're going to write the whole record. We did it in like a week.
Yeah.
Wrote it, and then and Rob wasn't there. And then when he showed up in the studio, Indigo Ranch, and we were in the
Indigo Ranch. Man,
yeah,
that's
we were in
cool.
the A room killing it. I watched him come in the control room, like through the glass, and he walked in and he was like, took his glasses off, and we were just like, I mean, you probably listened to that record, right?
Yeah, man. Did he like that kind of style of music, or was that pressure to because everybody's going on that wave?
I think he loves it. Yeah, he loves that kind of music. Yeah.
I'd love to have him on the show sometime. Just
Yeah,
pick
I
his
bet he would
brain.
do it. Rob, yeah. I mean, I know he's got shows and stuff like that.
He does
now,
have a
but-
lot of reality shows.
Yeah, but I bet he would. I mean, imagine he would do it.
Do you go back and listen to this album?
I haven't in so long, but there's some rad creative stuff on there.
So you
It's
did
heavy.
all the instrumental, and he put lyrics over that, or rapped over
with
it.
Ross, with the guidance of Ross. Yeah, I mean, Ross got Vanilla Ice to cry in the.
I wish
in
they
the control
filmed
room.
that, man. Like, why didn't they film that? Like
Somebody
a
had to.
documentary or something.
They
yeah.
didn't do it, did they?
No, that would be really interesting
That would be
to see
brilliant.
Ross making Vanilla Ice cry.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of. Oh yeah, it's just him. I guess in the liner, yeah, of the CD, you'd see. There is some pictures and stuff like that, but that was cool. That was fun, and then we finished the Amen record, and then Lynn, after Jamie left the band, they hired Shannon to write the next Snot record, and then actually I think first it was I can't remember the order, but it was a case where they were like, we want Shannon to maybe play these shows with us and record the record, write the record and record it, and so Shannon goes, I'll play those shows if Sonny plays.
Oh man.
Yeah, because the guy that Jamie brought in, Mike Smith, who ended up playing on Limp Bizkit for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Mike Smith,
He replaced Wes.
No, he replaced yes,
In
Wes
Limp Bizkit.
Borland.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
replaced me in Snot, and then replaced Wes Borland
Okay.
in Limp Bizkit. And there's been times where Snot has toured where I've been with Rock to Recovery, and I'm like, I can't give up. This is my job, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just like, hey, let's go on tour. I got a job, man, and
Right.
it's fulfilling. With all due respect, it's way more fulfilling than doing a van tour in the Midwest with Snot. I mean, Snot's legendary, but being a legend does not put people in the seats. Platinum bands nowadays are only playing 1,200 seaters.
True.
And they're like, can we get everybody in here? You're gonna fill this place.
Yeah.
It's tough. So so I was like, I can't. So Mike Smith would jump in as well and do. I think he did a European tour with them that I just couldn't do. Yeah. So when Shannon said,
Yeah.
"Hey man, I'll do it if Sonny plays," Lynn was like, "Oh shit." So he called me. Lynn called me and he was like, "Hey man," there was like all this controversy of him getting the blowjob coming out of Limp Bizkit's toilet on Ozfest.
Oh, yes,
right?
yeah.
And so
I remember
saw
that
I saw
big
him,
toilet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I saw him in Rolling Stone. So when he called me, we were kind of like trying to figure out how to have the conversation. And I was like, "Man, I saw you in Rolling Stone here. Congratulations." I kind of went, "Congratulations,"
Yeah.
and he was all, "Yeah, thanks. My band's falling apart." And I was like, and he goes, "So look, man, let's settle this." And we talked it out, and it was like, I owned some shit, he owned some shit, and I was like, and he said, "You want to do these shows with us? I would love for you to do these shows." And I said, "Yeah, man, I would love to." And so I did 2 shows with him, the last 2 shows.
Wow.
Which I think probably November of '98 was when that last show was. And then December 11th, man, the crazy thing about it was that day, that night, I was living with a friend of mine, and I had my own phone number, I had my own telephone line. But I was laying down watching TV, and a Geico commercial came on, or some car insurance, and I realized, oh shit, I don't have car insurance. I was in a good way, and I'm like, I don't have car insurance. Oh, and so I literally called, I don't know, might have been Geico, on the phone with a car insurance agent, and then my roommate, his wife comes in, and she goes, "Hey, Mikey's on the phone," and I'm all, I gotta call him back, and she starts to turn around, she turns back around and goes, "He said he needs to talk to you now," and I was all, hold on a second, "Hey, dude," and he goes, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Hold on, I gotta go." Click. "Hey, man," and he says, "He's gone, bro." I knew exactly what he was talking about. I knew. I was like, "Oh, that's today." Like, Lynn Strait almost had a death wish, man. He played it on the edge always, just pushing the edge, and it got him. And it was drugs. He was on heroin.
Oh, was he? When he was driving, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He pulled, and this terribly fatal intersection that's now been changed. Now they've fixed it so it's not, you can't cross the freeway to get on northbound like you had to back then. So he was impaired, and he crossed southbound traffic to try to merge onto northbound with, on a freeway right on the coast, beautiful area. And he was T-boned by this truck. He probably didn't see the guy, or he, thought he could make it in this, Ford POS that he was driving.
And his dog,
Dobbs was with him,
yeah.
yeah. Like that, man.
That's just incredible that you knew exactly what he meant. Just he's gone.
Yeah, he's
Could
gone.
be a
bro.
million things, but you
Yeah,
knew.
man. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I was like, fuck, it's tonight, man. It's today, like almost like we knew it was coming, you know, in some way. When, who knows? And we're all gonna go, right?
Yeah.
But when? Oh, it's today.
He was young
Shit.
too, man. He was only like 30, right?
He was 30. Yeah, he had just turned 30. He was August 7th. He turned 30.
When you guys, what made you guys decide to do an album for Lynn? Was this for his family? Like, how did you guys put this together?
Well, Mikey spearheaded this. Mikey and John spearheaded this. I was in Amen, and I was doing all these things, and I was still fucked up, man. I was still actively digging my potential grave and circling the drain at this
This
point.
you're at your like lowest point.
Not yet. I had 3 more years to go. This was 98, 99, so I had 2 more years to go.
Wow.
But I was in the peak of my using, you know, and if when we're talking about drugs and alcohol, being an alcoholic and an addict, you know, I didn't choose crystal meth, but that's what I was strung out on. That's what I kept going to, was meth. And it's like, why would I choose that?
Yeah.
It's not. There's no menu given to an addict or an alcoholic to where you go, this is my drug of choice. I didn't choose it. I was addicted to it. you
Yeah.
know? And so I couldn't stop, man. I was squatting in Hollywood, and I mean, it was rough, dude. I was sucked up. All my friends were like, dude, what is going on with you? And I was like, what? Everything's cool. Just like Skeletor.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't have much, you know, I mean, I was like probably 20.
You're not a big. Yeah.
I'm not a big guy, yeah. I
Yeah.
probably had 25 pounds less on me then. I don't have 25 pounds to spare, but it was gone, man. And so Mikey, so they had written and I had actually written with them, a couple songs with them, the new Snot record. And I had worked on a couple of them. And so it was most of this is the music that would have been the second
Really?
Snot album. Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. That's wild.
the thing, yeah. This would have been the second Snot record.
So Lynn never
Musically.
wrote lyrics and all that stuff. Wasn't he?
He had some stuff, but but it wasn't ever demoed or anything like that. That's how it was it was in the writing stage.
Wow, man.
Yeah, there was no pre-production going on yet. There was no producer in place when he died. There was just music, and he was at the rehearsal space trying ideas, and he had some lyrics written, but nobody really knew what was going to go where, or to tell someone else how to sing it. And so Mikey worked with Nick Adler, I believe, to kind of stir up some interest in this label, Immortal. Rolled the dice on it, and got all of our friends and to write lyrics and sing on it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. And also a remix of Absent, which was the very last song that we ever wrote and recorded as a band.
Yeah, dude. And obviously Sevendust did Angel's Son, which is
So
massive.
this version is the straight up version. Then there's the Animosity.
Like
There's
the
Animosity, right?
Yeah, yes.
Right. And then there's the full
They had like
stuff.
full like
Once
orchestra.
once TVT heard that, they were like, "You guys have to do the song." And
Cha-ching, yeah.
and Clinton were like, "No, dude, that's for our bro." And they were like, They literally pulled the like card on him. We're like, "You have to record this song." And so they did it for the album, which is also beautiful, obviously.
What's this kid, Jason from Rich Kids
On LSD,
LSD.
RKO.
He passed away too.
He
didn't
did, man. He and
That's
Lynn were
wild.
best friends, dude. And they were like, so Rich Kids on LSD was they were called the Cito Rats. They were from Montecito, a bunch of rich kids that were criminals, like just
Yeah.
flat out, like armed robbery criminals. They were junkies. They were going to any lengths to get and use drugs. And so, yeah, Jason Sears, man, great song. And you ever listen to RKO?
No.
Just definitive.
I've heard you talking about him though.
Right.
so-
For me, it was definitive, technical punk rock. Like it was metal, but punk. Like this other version of punk metal. It was insane. And
That's cool.
And yeah, so Jason and Lynn were buddies, and Jason had been sober here and there, and then he OD'd on heroin and died.
Yeah, man.
It's a monster, bro, and it lives within, and it doesn't ever die.
But luckily, like you were on it for a few years. But if you didn't get on it, man, where would you be?
If I didn't get on,
didn't get clean.
Yeah.
In a couple of years.
I don't know.
Down the road.
Well, with the health issues that have presented themselves to me in the last 3 years, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be alive, or I'd be incapacitated. I've had 2 heart attacks.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's genetic plus terrible American diet for the first 42 years of my life, and then literally at 42, I started to change my diet. So that's when I started to get healthy and started eating differently and letting go of some things. Became vegetarian and whatever, not knowing it was spiritual actually. It was a spiritual kind of. It was kind of. I was struck vegetarian.
Yeah.
You might say it wasn't a choice.
So you went vegetarian before you had the heart attack. Wow.
years. I was still doing dairy and eggs though, and so the blockages were already growing. I've been working on it for 42 years, you know, and so plus a high cholesterol or imbalance in my cholesterol, so on, and so yeah, and so I had my first heart attack at 45, got stents, and I was healthier than I was like fit.
Where were you at when you had your heart attack?
At the gym.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was pressing some. That was when it kicked in, but I went to the hospital later. I was like, oh, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm ignorant is what I am, or what I was. Yeah, there was a little tightness in my chest, and then this tourniquet feeling around my left arm. Those are the telltale signs, by the way.
Yeah, it goes kind of limp, your arm.
Yeah, it's left. It'll be your left arm.
Sorry.
That's where for whatever reason, how we're made. Yeah. and I was like, I just need to relax or something. Plus, I had this hot Australian chick that was visiting me, and she was going home the next day, and I'd be damned if I was not going to hang out with her that night.
Yeah.
Again, ignorant. It's a blessing that I didn't die to her.
Yeah.
Because I would be gone, and that's the best way to go. She would have been traumatized for life, and I would have been. When you guys were giving my eulogy, you'd be like, "Well, if you gotta go, that's the way to go, right?" And so, idiot. I woke up at 2:00 in the morning like this, and she's all, "What's up?" And I said,
So you couldn't catch your breath?
Well, yeah, that was one thing. It feels like you can't catch your breath, but it doesn't have anything to do with your lungs, right, obviously. But it feels like that because there's like this. It's almost like somebody's giving you a noogie in your chest and then into it and twisting, and you're like, "Oh man!" Like remember noogies on your head? Imagine that in your chest, and then also a tourniquet here. So we went to the hospital, and
What if it was like that hot chick doing it to you?
I woke up and I'm like, "What are you doing?" That's kinky, but what is that?
This is freaky.
You're into some weird shit, Aussies. Yeah, but she basically, she's the one that's like, "We're going to the hospital now." She did it. She was like, "We're going now," and I was like, "Okay, shit." So we went, and I went and had an angiogram, turned into angioplasty because I had 4 blockages.
Wow,
opened them with stents. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was gnarly. But I'd gone vegetarian because, like, when my dad died, I don't know why, but I was on the way in 2013 to see my dad, and he was on his deathbed. And I was literally on the way there. I stopped at a restaurant with my sister, had this amazing, like, organic matrix type of experience where I swear I could see between the space between us. I could see it, and it was organic.
Really?
And then this voice said, "You're not eating meat anymore." And I opened the menu and I was like, "I'll just have this, but instead of chicken, put mushrooms on it." Like I started there, and it was literally from within, Scott. Like I didn't plan it.
True.
I did not plan it. I'm an animal lover my whole life. Struggled with it a couple times with beef. Like I was like, they're like big grass dogs, cows and whatever.
Yeah.
But then I was just struck vegetarian, but I still did a lot of dairy and egg. So then in 2016, when I swear I was about to become vegan without even choosing it. Like I can't remember which came first, the heart attack or the veganism. But I opened my refrigerator one day, and I was like, "Oh, almond milk, vegan cheese." Eggs started grossing me out, like 2 weeks.
Yeah?
I was like, ugh, because I'd make them for breakfast because I thought I had to. Gotta eat eggs for breakfast. Just raised that way and still believed it. But then they started grossing me out. I was like, ugh. So then I started doing smoothies and oatmeal and all that kind of stuff instead. And I realized, oh, well, I guess I'm vegan now. I think it might have been right after the heart attack as I realized it. Because then I was like, this is probably good.
Yeah.
Probably better this way. Yeah, so the original question was like, where would you be if I hadn't stopped? Where would I be? Not in a good place, I imagine, if anywhere at all. So yeah.
And so you got sober back in, 2002 or 2001?
Yeah, in fact, my sobriety date is December 31st, 2001. And that just happened to be the day, the first day I didn't put anything in my body. It wasn't a choice. I didn't go, "I'm going to get sober today."
Oh, okay, you didn't?
No, I went, "I can't do this anymore, help me." Like literally, that's what I did. Help me, I can't do this anymore. On the 30th, December 30th was the last time I did anything. And the 31st, I was like, I can't stop. I can't. I don't know how to stop, but I can't keep going. And so I reached out, dialed 411.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and went, "Alcoholics Anonymous, please." They connected me. Remember back when it was like additional 30 cents?
Yeah.
You could, for additional 30 cents. Boop. And then I said, I can't stop. And the lady was like, "Great, where are you? We can help you." And I told her where I was, and she said, "Hold on, please." Probably checked an actual, directory instead of computer.
Yeah.
And she's like, "There's a meeting starting in 20 minutes, 7 blocks from you. Go there now. Go now. hang up and go. Like she literally was like, hang up. And
That's
I hung up the
amazing.
phone. I don't remember walking there, but I walked 7 blocks and I got sat down. I'd been in rehab when I was 16.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But I was like, I'm not an alcoholic, man. I'm just like to party. I was a kid. I was a child.
Did your parents make you go or something? Okay.
Yeah. I was a troubled child from early on. Yeah, or troubled, whatever. I'm an alcoholic addict, so untreated. And so what I needed was a drink at the time, or a spiritual awakening that was sufficient enough to cast out the desire to drink and use, and in its place, a purposeful life. That's really what I have now, man. In place of drugs and alcohol, and that lifestyle of trying to get it. And I'm not talking about like just the party lifestyle. I'm talking about alcoholism and addiction. In the place of that, desperation and deceit and trying to get it, and how can I make my life still work and all that, unmanageable. I can't get things. Why won't you do what I want you to do so that I can smoke crystal meth without you bothering me? But I push everybody away and then blame them for abandoning me, right? That kind of thing. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Good, leave me alone. And then they left me alone, finally. And
Yeah.
I was like, you left me.
Nobody loves me.
Nobody loves me. For me. Yeah. All the things go right into the depths. So yeah, I hit bottom with that on the 30th of December, day one, December 31st. And I found this meeting in Santa Monica, California, where I was living, men's meeting, all men. It's, some people are kind of like caught up in like, I'm not going to go to a meeting with just dudes. I'm not going there to get chicks. I'm going there to save my life.
Yeah.
Right? So I found some dudes that were talking about solution, not just about how like fucked up we were, or they were, but how there is actually a solution to that, and it can translate into a purposeful life, man. And then from then, so I was still in Amen at the time. So there we go. So 98, and then I was in Amen for that whole time. And then so when I hit bottom, I was still in Amen, and I don't know. I did my first sober tour with Amen. It was the big day out in Australia.
Oh, okay.
And I had like 12 days. And my boys and sister were on that tour too. And see, here's the thing it was weird, Scott, because I had tried, I even got ultimatums from Casey Chaos, who, that dude threw down.
That's crazy. So the guy throwing down tells you have a problem.
I'm more fucked up than you are? Oh my God, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
The guy who I'm all, this guy is crazy. He's like, yo, man, you're crazy. You got to relax, to me. I was like, oh my God. So I was still in the band, but and I did this tour, and so I'm hanging out with Chavo and hanging out, and it was fantastic, man, because we played early. It was called the Big Day Out, but it was we called it the Big Day Off, because we played one show in New Zealand, and then we had 3 days off while they took all the gear to Brisbane, Australia, and then we fly to Brisbane, and we play a show, and then we have 3 days off. Sometimes 4 days off, depending on how far
That's a good break.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. A lot of bands had pickup dates. We had 2, I think. I got to see System a couple times, and they were already my bros. I already played with them in front of nobody, like 6 people. And then I got to see them in front of 600, and now 600,000, whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was almost like rehab for me, being on tour, and being able to sleep and eat and explore Australia. Like, whoa, this place is amazing. Went to Black Sand Beaches in New Zealand with him and Rich Jones, who was the guitar player that replaced Paul Fig in Amen, who was in, he actually went on to play, he's with the guy, Michael Monroe. He plays with Michael Monroe.
Oh, okay, yeah,
from Hanoi Rocks.
Yes,
yeah, Rich
yes.
Jones, great guy, sweet man, awesome human, lovely human. And so we were roommates. Thank God I was his roommate. And then so I just slept and ate and played and slept and ate and played. Got home and I was like, damn, I need a job, because Amen is not paying the bills, dude. And we were about to get dropped by Virgin, which was, again, we got dropped by Roadrunner at one point after the first record, and then we're getting dropped by, I think Casey was trying to pull a Sex Pistols and just get dropped, put a record out, drop it. EMI, I think he was trying to do, just relive the Sex Pistols history. And so I decided that I was going to leave the band, because it's the only thing that was not conducive to serenity. And so I told Casey, hey man, I'm gonna finish these shows out, then I'm gonna leave the band. And his thing was, what band are you joining? You're leaving us for another. And I was all, I'm not joining a band, bro. I'm gonna go work at the animal hospital. I need to save my life. Fuck a band. I don't care about that. I need to save this. And so I did. And I went back to work as a vet tech, cleaning cages, walking dogs, helping doctors in surgery, all the things. I became the best vet tech I'd ever been in my life. And I had to make amends, like in the steps, 12 steps. In the 9th step, you make amends for things that we've done wrong. And so I had to make amends to animal hospitals. I'd call them up and say, hey, I was under the influence, and I want to tell you I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, and I'm trying to get sober. And I have to apologize to you and make amends for what I did. I showed up late for work. I didn't show up at work. I left you high and dry. I put the animals in jeopardy, and I want to make amends for that. Is there anything I can do to fix that? And most of them were like, oh my God, we're so happy for you. Yeah, just don't do that shit anymore. So most of them said. And so then I went back to work, and I became the best vet tech I ever been. And then I get a call from BC, from the band, Hed PE, Hed Planet Earth.
I love this record, man.
It's a good one.
My favorite one by them, and nobody ever talks about this record.
I know, right?
And Wes was in this band.
Wes wrote all that music.
Wes from Rock to Recovery.
Yes.
That's how you know Wes.
Wes is let's not just Wes was in this band. Wes was the founding member of that band. He started that band, and then with Jared, and he's the one that had the idea of like mixing punk and Beastie Boys and hip hop. They called it G-punk. Yeah. Instead of G-funk, it was G-punk.
Nice.
And his sound design with like the whammy pedal. Sure, Tom Morello was doing it, but Wes had his own thing with it, and so he started this band. Just so you guys know, he wasn't just in the band.
He started it.
And so, but they were on the rocks. Him and the singer were on the rocks.
Yeah.
And the other guitar player left. Chad left, who's also a dear friend. I always replace my dear friends in bands. It was like, I guess if I'm the pinch hitter, I'm a journeyman, you might say.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so this is where the journey really kind of began.
Yeah.
And so I was sober for 10 months. BC calls me and he's like, hey man. Snot and Hed also toured a lot together. In fact, there was a tour that was Sevendust, Snot, Hed PE in 1997.
Sevendust, Snot, Hed PE. Yeah.
Right. I was playing in Snot. I was in Snot, but I went on to play in all of those bands. I literally played in all those bands.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. And so...
but you're not actually on this record,
not,
though, right?
no,
Yeah.
so
So Wes, he was on the album. And
Wes played all the guitars. I did the tour. I got my face on there, my name's on there, all that stuff.
You were in the video, right?
Blackout. Yeah.
No. Well,
yes,
yeah, you were.
That was in the Blackout video, yeah. Just that one. That's the only video that we did for that. I think maybe...
Great song.
It is a really good song. And and Wes was
I love this album, man, because it's different than their other albums. It's more rock. You weren't on the album.
I wasn't on there. They were doing it, yeah.
They just went in a different direction.
Yeah, they were trying to be a little more radio friendly.
And then all their other albums kind of went a different way.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is the wave that they were on was not conducive to continuing sustainability as a radio band or as a major label band.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And so they aimed for Jive Records, like, you need to give us a song that, I don't know, it's got a hit or something. That record was being made. You can put it down if you want to. It was being made, and Chad left the band, and then they called me. And so the first thing that the BC asked me was, hey, man, what's your party situation? Because I threw down with those dudes. I would ride on their bus in Europe and do ecstasy and blow, and I was like the guy. As we kind of mentioned in the thing with Clint, I just could, like sees like, game recognize game. So I'd see that guy and I'd be all, even those guys would be like, hey, you want to get some whatever tonight? I go, yeah. I just walk in the club. There he is.
That's wild, man.
It sucks. I wish, I guess I made it, so we're here. But it was a knack that, wouldn't it be great to be good at something else? Besides that.
But the thing is, you were actually a really good guitar player. That way, they wouldn't even call you, right? Because you have this bad reputation, right?
I had the reputation.
You can jam though, so they're like, well, he's a great guitar player.
Start there.
Yeah.
Right, and so then BC was like, what's your situation? I've been sober 10 months. He goes, cool. You want to join Hed? And I said, hold on. Yes. And then we were finishing this record, and we got a tour starting in 3 months. Start learning songs. And this is where I had to start getting new guitars and tuning them down, because Snot was tuned to like drop C sharp, half step down, and then a full like open tuning. Amen, we did like some standard. We did a bunch of different tunings actually in Amen, but for the records, but mostly standard and drop D. And then with Hed, it was like they were all B standard, so everything is down like 2.5 steps, I think. Yeah, a fifth. Everything's down at what's called a fifth. Those musos out there, and so I had to get different guitars and whatever. And so so I started going on tour with these guys, and killing it with them. You know, it was fantastic, man. I was getting my legs how to tour as a sober musician.
Yeah, that's
I was the only one, bro.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
had magical experiences, Scott.
Yeah.
You know, like the journey of curiosity, of being like, okay, I wonder what's in this town. And I would either get on my tour manager's laptop or I'd call 411 in New Orleans and be like, hey, I'm at this place. I want to go to a meeting. And they would, somebody come pick me up. Baton Rouge, actually, somebody came in, drove to the hotel and picked me up and took me to a meeting.
Wow.
You know, like it was amazing.
And back then there wasn't like the community is now, right? Like you guys have like Clint and I know Jacoby, like different people, like you kind of, back then you were kind of a loner.
Yeah, a lot of guys are very vocal about it and we're all connected. Randy from Lamb of God.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I think he's talked about it, so sorry if I just blew your anonymity.
No.
I didn't. Yeah, he talks about it. It's in his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're right. There was no community like that, at least not that I had connected with yet. And so all these guys have like a few years less than me. So thankfully, they got sober and we connected on it. And so yeah, with Hed, I was touring and it was great. But I mean, playing was great. But Wes and the singer were at terrible odds. I mean, there was something happened between them, and so finally Wes left the band. Wes was like, I'm out of here, and left. And I was the only guitar player in the band. And so after a little while of touring, it was still okay, it was cool. But then when he started writing new stuff and presenting new stuff to me, I was not into what he does now. And I don't think I've heard maybe 2 songs since I left that band from Hed PE. I'm just not interested.
I'm not either. This was my last album
Yeah,
that I really...
I'm just not interested.
Yeah. And so you always get these phone calls, right?
I do, and they're always from the drummer.
Oh, true.
Which is rad for me, because as much as I'm a guitar player, Clint and I were talking on the way here.
Yeah.
I don't collect guitars. I don't like nerd out on guitar players. David Gilmour is my favorite guitar player. James Hetfield, you know, and I love guitar.
Yeah.
But I don't have a collection of them. I don't bug out on. And I mean, no offense, those guys. And I mean, it shows. Maybe if I would have a different career, but I'm okay with whatever. And but I love drummers.
Yeah.
I always connect with drummers, man. Maybe I should have been one, you know.
That's the ham.
The ham bone.
See, the ham bone.
Landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my
Yes.
hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul, left me with life in hell. So I can go on.
You just
But
did
it
the whole
gets
song.
I could. Well, once it starts the double bass part, I could, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I love drummers. And so BC called me from Hed. And then one
Morgan.
day, after I left Hed in late '04, went back to the animal hospital. My soon-to-be ex-wife and I had a dog walking business. So, you know, animals everywhere. January 19th of 2005, Morgan Rose calls me. I'm like, hey, Morgan. He's like, what's up, bro? I'm like, hey, man. He goes, what's your party situation?
He has the same question.
Almost, I don't know if he said party situation, but he's like, how you doing, man? How's your, you know, I think it was
Yeah.
like, what's up with the party? And I'm like, I've been sober for 3 years. He goes, cool, you want to join Sevendust? It was almost the
Wow.
same conversation.
So they had already made up their mind. They were like, we want Sonny.
They didn't, I
No
mean,
tryout. They just...
there was a guy who filled in for Clint at one point when he like.
Really? I
what
wonder
his
who that
name?
was.
J3 or J.
John 5?
No, it was 2 numbers less. He played with Tommy Lee for a minute.
Oh,
It was
yeah, I
the
don't
guy,
know,
yeah.
man.
Something like that. You know, John 5? No. John -5 -2. There was a J and a 3 in it, but anyway, he calls
That
me.
guy's really mad right now when he
He's
hears
like,
it.
"This asshole.
It's always John 5.
Yeah. Right?
It's never J3.
Damn. Blew it. So he's totally mad right now. He's trying to figure out how to get the number. Oh, yeah, I'm John 7. So,
I played with Sevendust for a minute.
for a minute. John 7 for a minute. So Morgan called me, man. January 19th. I remember, obviously, because there was some, like, I had to get my shit together and go. Because he calls, he's like, hey, man, you know, want to join Sevendust? And I think I probably went, hold on. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, Clint's gone. Clint left the band. We're doing a record. And
Yeah, they were
so-
pressured, right? Like, it was...
Yeah, this was a tough time for Sevendust, man. You know, talk about, like,
Yeah.
under the gun. I think they'd just gotten off TVT. Yeah, they'd just gotten off TVT finally. Just got away from management that was not, you know. And they had this, you know, Wine Dark Records, this, you know, their manager at the time, who I have nothing nice to say about that man. He like linked up with this rich guy who wanted to start a label.
Wine, this is their only wine, whatever.
Wine Dark, not Wind Up, Wine. dark. You mean like dark wine? No, wine dark. Like red wine? No, wine dark. So, yeah.
This company didn't last though, right?
No,
This is
didn't last 10 minutes after that record came out. Yeah. So, so Morgan's like, hey, we're doing a record. We want you to come out and play on it. And it's again January 19th. I go, well, cool. When are you starting? And he goes, February 1st. I was like, well, so I better put my 2 weeks in. Even though I only got 11 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, dude, I went to my boss at the animal hospital and I was like, hey, and I had told him the same thing I told my ex-girlfriend. I was like, you know, sometimes I might get a gig and I'm gonna go if I get this call. And so I pulled him in this exam room the next day and I'm like, hey man, so remember that thing I told you about? Yeah, the call came in. He goes, oh cool, when do you leave? I said, 9 days. And he's all right man, well if you ever want to come back, you're welcome.
Oh, that's good.
He's the greatest. Danny Miano, boom, to this day, pump.
Dude.
And so yeah, man, I got these songs. John sent me a CD and all these freaking tunings, man. Sevendust got
Crazy
more,
tunings, huh?
dude. They made me They made me another level of guitar player. They made me a better guitarist. And so I went out there. A lot of the stuff was written. I had a couple riffs on there, but I wrote a lot of lyrics on that record because we would the way that it was going was it was quick, but pre-production was like Morgan and John and LJ did a little bit, but they would get like a verse and a chorus going, and then move on to the next song. First chord, and like we'll get it in the studio. We'll finish the lyrics and stuff in the studio, melodies. And so in my time that I was there, it wasn't really spare time, but in my time that I was with those guys at the studio, we did the record in 6 weeks, that album 6 weeks, front to back. And I was learning, we were going to go on tour like 2 weeks later, because that's how Sevendust does it. Just non-stop.
Jeez, yeah, it's
going.
a machine.
I can't believe those guys are still doing it. It's amazing. And so I'd be tracking some guitars and then learning old stuff to do on the tour, and then sitting with Morgan, and we called it filling holes. So I'd write the second verse and like the bridge or something like that, in it lyrically. And then we did that record like that, man, went on tour. It was it was definitely the career highlight. And probably the band that when, it's the band that people go, what band are you playing on? If I want to, roll the dice and have a better chance of people knowing what band, having heard of them, Sevendust.
Right.
Yeah. And so, that was fantastic, man. That was some of the funnest. I was the most fit I'd ever been physically. I was sober had been sober 3 years. So it was from 3 to 6 years of sobriety. I was in that band.
These are old friends too, man.
And they're my bros,
you
went
on tour with them back in the Snot days.
I did, yeah. So we were tight. I was sober though, and they had already had experience with Clint being sober. So they were kind of like, oh, okay. And I'm all, yo, listen, live your life, be you. You don't have to change your who you are on account of me. I'll take care of myself. I'm gonna be just fine. But do me a favor, maybe just do the drugs in the back. Don't do anything up front. Don't smoke weed up front if that's cool. And they were like, yeah, we do that anyway. I'm all, okay, great. The cigarettes and whatever out in the back, and then the front was kind of neutral zone. I mean, drink. You're all 21 or over, so it's not up to me to tell you how to live your life. Be you. I'm gonna be all right, and I'm gonna make it. Through each day, I'm gonna work at it. And so I did this tour, and again, that was like, we were killing it, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I remember seeing you guys, man.
Yeah, it was so fun, man. And even though Morgan and I spent the most time together, Vinny's my favorite.
I love Vinny.
Vinny's my favorite, man. I love that guy.
Uncle Vinny.
I'm praying for Uncle Vin right now.
Why is that?
Just because he's not getting any younger. He's still burning the candle.
Is he? Both ends.
Yeah. So I love that guy so much, man. And I called him the other day to get a hold of him, but yeah, he's my favorite, man. We connect on stage. We were just like, there's a picture actually in the Straight Up record of because I did this let me see. Yeah, this right here. So this photo, I wrote this, right? So if you look at it, it's all music and blah blah blah, Sonny Mayo. But there's I programmed all these drums and whatever, and then wrote this acoustic guitar song for Lynn. Like that was the vibe. And then Shavo was at my house one day, and I showed him this photo, and he goes, "Oh man, Sad Air," and I was, "What? I'm not a skater." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, that's a skate move called Sad Air."
Oh wow.
That Lynn's doing right there. And right when he said that, bro, I wrote a poem about Lynn and me jumping, because we would do these. It's not in this photo, but we would do these jumps on stage. We all got into the jumping and landing on the one. Sevendust had trampolines and all that shit. But we had this thing. Me and Lynn would look at each other and just launch, and we would I swear we'd get stuck in air for like an infinite second, right? Infinite microsecond, and it was like I'd get stuck up there. So in the it might be in the liner. I'm not sure how they did it. In the CD cover, there's that photo because each song has a page in the CD, and the poem is superimposed over the page for Sad Air.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. And
Dude, that's so cool, man.
It's fucking amazing, man. So Vinny was my connection on that.
Yeah.
Like we'd get up and just what?
Yeah.
And I had all these moves and shit, man. All these like personal jumps. I had this thing called the hangman
Yeah.
that I do. It's
Oh,
move.
yeah, yeah.
You ever heard of that?
I remember seeing you do something.
yeah. So yeah, you take the guitar, flip it this way, and then over and behind.
Yes,
so it's actually
dude.
like going across my neck. And then I would do this thing where I'd go.
And you just made that up? That was your thing?
I was freaking out one night in Amen. We were playing, and I was like just going ballistic. And it just kind of happened. The guitar went this way and went behind me. There's a picture I had a full page photo in Kerrang back in 2000.
Cool. I used to love Kerrang.
Yeah, we had a great. 2000 was the year of Amen for readers polls. We were like best overall band and best new band, best live band. Like we just, it was the timing was perfect because we came to England right when the readers poll was open, and so everyone was, oh, hey man, this is the shit. And so I had this full page of the Hangman, and it was kind of in its infantile stage, but it was a picture from Japan actually, the only time I ever went to Japan, which is amazing. And I mean, it's ugly, dude. It's like, hey man, I'm just like choking myself out and loving it, like killing myself for art, I guess. But I streamlined it in Sevendust, and it turned into like the samurai hangman and shit.
Yeah,
I'd
dude.
put it back there and I'd pull some moves, like, you know. And people were like, oh yeah, it's a hangman. You know? And then I was like, no one else has ever done that. I've never seen any other guitar player do it. Then the guy from Boba Flex, one of those guys.
Oh, yeah, I know them.
Yeah, one of those guys was like, dude, can I try it? I was like, try it.
Can I try it?
Try it if you can do it. Do it. And he's like, I'll give you props. I'm like, okay, man. And you know, I played with Shannon Larkin in Amen, and he was getting ripped off by everybody. Joey Jordison. Like we went on tour in Amen. We went on in '98, I think '99. We went on tour with Machine Head, Coal Chamber, and Slipknot. And it was actually Coal Chamber, Machine Head, Slipknot, Amen. So we were first. And so Shannon would pull all these amazing drum moves and shit. He's a fucking ninja.
Amazing drummer.
He is actually a samurai.
Yeah.
He's the kingpin, is what I call him, you know. And that same night, you see every other drummer ripping off his moves, and I get all mad. And Shannon's like, "It's okay, man. I got more." And I was like, "Ooh." And so I was like, "If anybody wants to rip off my moves, I'll make more."
There you go.
Yeah, that's the fun. That's actually the fun of being a rock musician, a rock star, whatever. It's like, have fun, man. Like, get crazy, be yourself. And that's what I tell people in my groups and Rock to Recovery and everything. Be you.
Yeah.
You know? And so next was Rocky, dude. And Clint had just left, and they were mad as some rattlesnakes, writing lyrics about him and just like pissed. And I came in and wrote lyrics, and I was like, okay, I'm not mad at Clint, but who am I mad at to get like, because I had to stay in, the last song and Pieces. I mean, it is like, fuck you. How many times Morgan say that on a record?
Yeah.
The Crow, fuck you,
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, who do I want to say fuck you to? All right, I get inspired and write some stuff. But I mean, me and Clint were talking about it today. He was like, hey, you wrote that's your lyrics? And I'm like, yeah, but they're not about you. He's like, the rest of it is. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
I wonder if it's weird if he plays the songs written about him.
They listened to it. He put it on the other night. He told me when they were in the studio.
Oh, really?
He put it on, and he was like, let's listen to this. And they were all like the last song especially is dark and like,
yeah.
It's the last song I'll ever write about you.
Yeah. I never knew that was about him, man.
It's about
I always thought it was about some like girlfriend or something. Like.
That's the beauty of music, Scott.
Yeah.
Isn't it? We can all take our interpretation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so we got dropped. The label fell apart.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, we got to do another record. Look, tomorrow. so we wrote this record real fast.
Alpha.
Yeah.
No programming. This is straight up, right?
Right.
It's just straight brutal album.
No programming.
This is like Sevendust's heaviest album.
It is,
like
isn't it?
raw, you know.
Yeah, real. And this is the first one that we did. Okay, so you may know this, but in recording, when a band records an album, there's a process of studio, right? It's usually not. There's a bunch of mics like Led Zeppelin did it, where you do 4 takes of Ramble On, and you pick the 3rd take because it sounds the best, and you go with it. That's the album. Go. Next song. It ain't like that these days, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are playing alone to the track. And so what we did on this one was the first one. We also did it on Hope and Sorrow. Was we went, we would have Morgan would track the drums, like we wrote the song and he had all the drum track and he played to a scratch. Maybe John would play with him to play along, but not to muddle, you know, his thing so he could be focused on the drums. And then when we would record bass and rhythm tracks, the three of us played together. Me, Vinny, and John would all record at the same time at the Tree Sound Studio in here,
Georgia.
around here, in this place called Georgia. That's
Yeah.
where we are. Yeah, Norcross.
Oh man, I like grew up around
Norcross. Yeah. It's right on Peachtree, right on the corner of Peachtree and Peachtree.
there. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, Peachtree Industrial.
Feature industrial.
And Peachtree.
Yeah.
Like all these fucking Peachtrees. How you gonna name every street Peachtree? What are y'all doing? They're all called Peachtree. Anyway, so
That's funny. Dude.
why'd you guys do that?
Bunch of
Well, because there's a
rappers used to
Peachtree
do it.
right there, man. And then there's another one right there. Peachtree and Peachtree.
I love your redneck accent.
Thanks, man. I mean, I grew up in Virginia.
Can you do the rest of this interview and that?
I could try. Every now and then I'll sneak into it.
Alpha
Yeah.
was heavy.
Yeah. God, man. Alpha's heavy wreck y'all, dude. Man, that shit was heavy. Alpha.
Alpha.
What's that mean? What is that? Like alfalfa? Like that guy from Little Rascals?
Yeah.
I just aged myself. Alpha, yeah, man, we had to punch that out, but we did it like that in the studio. It was awesome, man. And the crazy thing was, one of the things that guitar players will do is you'll double your rhythm tracks, right, to make it sound even bigger. But what was trippy was when we would track the two guitar, bass, and we were all in the control room, big ass speakers, you know, Morgan's drums going, and then it'd be like, okay, so Sonny, come back and track, you know, we're gonna retrack or double the choruses and the bridge section or whatever. And it was insane because I couldn't match up with myself.
Wow.
To what was recorded. So then John and I decided both of us would do our doubles together as well. So even though it wasn't the whole band playing together or whatever, we were playing together, and it was like this, because like when I play with you, the energy's different than when I'm just playing by myself. There's a different, I'm attacking it, we're pushing each other, we're pulling, you know, that whole thing, we're like, you know, empowering each other. And so that was really fun to do that. I had never done that before.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It's dope.
Yeah, I like that. And then so kind of moving on here, we got Hope and Sorrow. This was an interesting time, man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Blood, sweat, and tears into this record. I mean, you can tell the story. I mean,
You talking about from my angle, yeah?
Yeah.
I wrote more on this record than I did on any other record.
different direction too.
Yeah, we were
Chris
like,
Daughtry's on this record. man.
Yeah.
I mean, it went.
Yo, one time we were like, let's have some guests because we didn't do it on Alpha. Let's do it on this one.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to never do it? Well, this is just what we do. Wow, that's awfully limiting, isn't it? So on this one, we were like, yeah, and even one of the techs, one of the second engineer, the assistant engineer, while we were tracking guitars or whatever, he was working in Reason or something, making interludes. And like, how you guys like this? It's in this key, and so we took some of his stuff and put it in.
Wow.
And we had the one song. Actually, we had a couple songs where there was so Hope, I think, the Past maybe, and I think Sorrow. Like 3 songs at least have a string quartet on them. We found this string quartet. I want it to be a double album.
I did too, man. I
wanted
did the
it so
same
bad.
thing.
I was like, damn it. But yeah, we had a quartet play on. I can't remember the name of them now because it's been 11 years. But we went for it, man. We were like, let's get these guys on here. And so Chris Daughtry, we played a show in Fort Myers, Florida in like 06 or 07. And Daughtry was there. And it was rad. I walk on the tour bus, like, I think Shannon had just dropped me off. Larkin had just dropped me off because he lives in Florida. And he's like, I walk on the bus and there's this dude, shaved head, shirt off. I walk in, I'm like, who's this fucking guy on my tour bus? And
His shirt was off?
Yeah, it was hot that day.
Oh, I
So he had his
see.
shirt off.
Just hanging out with you guys with his
He
shirt
has
off.
True Religion jeans on.
Yeah.
And he was hot, so he took his shirt on the bus. And it was hot that day. And this
just
back
having
says
this visual.
Daughtry. And I was like, who has Daughtry tattooed across their back? He turns around, I'm all, oh, Chris Daughtry has Daughtry tattooed across. Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was,
yeah.
oh. And he turned around and Chris Daughtry, I mean, I'm rarely starstruck, man. And I wasn't with him, but to see somebody be starstruck with me was like, what?
Yeah, that's
He's all,
cool.
oh, hey, Sonny, hey.
Really?
Hey, man. And I was like, oh, yeah, this guy was on American Idol. Man, you were definitely my favorite singer that was definitely on You were definitely my favorite singer ever on American Idol.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm glad you didn't win because it would have ruined your career.
Yeah.
Right? And so I didn't say that obviously, but he was so cool, man. It's
That's
so
awesome,
down
man.
to earth, bro. I love your work, man, and big fan. I'm all thanks, dude. He was so gracious.
Yeah.
And then we're all looking at each other and we're all, you should probably come and sing on stage with us tonight. Wouldn't that make sense? And he's like, I would love that, man. Please. And we're all, yeah. What song do you want to do? Denial? Done.
He said, wow.
Yeah, he called it out. And so he was real sweet and is super cool. And so then that night, so what happens is, on stage nowadays, you can have a in-ear monitors. So we did, so you could run anywhere on the stage, and I have my own mix, I have my own pack,
Yeah.
and my own mix, right? And so he took my mic to, stage right mic to sing backups with LeJean on Denial. So I got to hear him like just raw. through
That's cool.
Yeah. And I was all, this son of a bitch can sing, dude. You hear that guy sing, mate? Good singer. You go down there and sing a song with us?
Yeah.
You're a good singer. So he killed it, and we, at one point we're like, let's have Daughtry sing on this. So I wrote the music to that, and most of the lyrics, except for the chorus, I wrote. And it was actually, it's called The Past, but I called it Cutter, because it was about a friend of mine who cut himself. He couldn't take the pain, the burning edge that drowns my hate, right? Those lyrics.
Yeah.
This sweet man who's sober, alcoholic, happy today, wife and kid, beautiful life, awesome human. When the pain hit, man, he couldn't take it. And he would take a blade and he would light it and he would burn it.
Wow.
And he would heat it up, and then he would put it on his skin and cut himself with it.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, heavy, man. And when he told me that, I wept. I was like, oh my God, bro. It hit me so hard. And then so I wrote these lyrics. And it was a poem. I just wrote a poem about it, right? And then when I wrote some music, I didn't really know they were going to go together technically. I had this music, I had these lyrics, and so when we were looking for stuff to put together, this came up, and me and Morgan wrote all the lyrics together, and then had Daughtry sing on it. And actually, and the violins are so good.
Yeah,
the
dude.
strings are so amazing on there. But it's beautiful to hear.
That's a great
I'm not a
story.
great singer, so to hear someone take my lyrics and give absolute life to them about something that means so much to me is important. The funny thing was, I was like, it's called Cutter, and the dudes like John and Morgan were like, well, it's a little dark, and I'm all, you wrote a song called "Tits on a Boar." Like, what's dark? What are you talking about? Like, what? Dark? Yeah. Morgan's screaming "fuck you" every other song, like just to call us up. But I was like, okay. So we called it The Past. I was like, all right.
dude.
That's one of those moments where I was like, what y'all talk? This band is dark as fuck, right? Like y'all are nice country boys and everything, but you're pissed. But anyway, so we called it The Past. And then having Miles Kennedy. That's my favorite
Yes,
song on the
dude.
record is Sorrow, right? That's the one Miles sang on, yeah. Whew. And I got to do a little Snot
Forgot
kind of
those,
moves in
yeah.
there. Ow, wow, wow. I got to do a little bit of that
Yeah.
action in there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Little wop stuff. And then, of course, Tremonti on Hope. So, funny enough,
Yes, yeah.
Tremonti played on Hope. Miles Kennedy sang on Sorrow. Hope and Sorrow.
There you go.
Doo-doo. Who playing that? But yeah, man, so recorded this record. Loved it. Was so into it. I went home after we did the record. I knew we had a tour coming up. Album's coming out April 1st.
Yeah.
2008. I'm like, yes. I was going to the gym. I lived in Venice at the time, Venice Beach. I go to Gold's Gym. I was all fit. I was ready to go, dude. I was waiting for the phone call from the manager. Hey, man, we're going to fly you in. We're going to do this in-store. You're going to get to work. I was ready for the call. So then one day, walking back in the gym, call comes in. Manager, oh, hey, new manager. And he says, hey, this is so-and-so. Hey, I have the other guys. I have the guys on the other line. And I'm all, weird. And he goes, cool if I bring him over? And I'm all, yeah, sure. And I like spidey senses are like, what's going on here? Well, they come over and, hey, Sonny, hey, they're being all nice and shit. And then this guy goes, who's brand new manager? And they're having this guy tell me,
Yeah.
yeah, a decision has been made to bring Clint back in the band. I'm all, a decision has been made? By whom? Did the Senate vote and pass it through the House? You mean they decided, the band decided
Right.
to bring, like, what's this eggshell bullshit, And it was crushing, man. It was crushing. And so then I'm all just listening and to the reasons and why the things, and I'm like, hold on a second, whatever your name is, who hasn't been with his band for 2 weeks. 1 second, please. Does anybody in this band want to say anything to me? Do you guys want to say anything to your brother? You know, there was a lot of brother stuff. He was my brother, and I'm all, really? That's how you treat your brother? I was hurt, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not. I definitely still doesn't feel good, but I don't have any animosity toward them. It was that point in my life was, I mean, with what I got by being with those guys, even through that turmoil. You know, I mean, the fucking wheels were falling off. And even through that, you know, it was grace, man. I'd be spitting in the face of grace if I, you know, was still mad or was like, those fucking guys, or, you know, it would be ridiculous, I think. And it wouldn't feel good, so I don't want to do it. So, yeah, I'm like, anyway. And Morgan, you know, I'm a talker. But Morgan is a talker.
All right.
Right?
Yes.
Probably not more than me on this thing, but
No,
I just got more material. But so he's good too, though, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, let's talk about me. Yeah, this is an easy. I know about this subject. So yeah, he starts talking, and I was like, hold on. It's cool, man. You don't have to explain it, but I want to say a few things. And I lit him up. I said, you know, and I mean, I'm sure they've heard interviews of me saying this before, so this isn't anything new. But I was like, I used to wonder why Sevendust hit this ceiling, where all these other bands smashed through it. Godsmack and Disturbed and I'll name all these bands, Stained, all these bands that opened for Sevendust, and then I used to wonder why that happened, and I don't wonder anymore. I know now, because you guys make terrible decisions. You have no idea what you're doing, or if you do, you're not doing the right thing, and you make bad choices, and you hurt people, and you think that you're justified in doing it, and so there you go. Congratulations. I was like, here's another one, because you know, and this is the thing, and this is brutal. This is brutal, and what do I have to lose? You know,
right?
I mean, in fact, you know, giving the truth to somebody without, I'm not saying fuck you to them, but the truth is Clint has changed, but you haven't. I'm like, it's not going to be any different than it was before he left the band, except for he's going to be sober for real. It's not going to be any different. I'm like, so there you go. You're going to sell 150,000 records each time. You're going to be back in the studio every 6 months doing a fucking record. I'm like, you're going to be staying in the grind because you won't do it differently than you've done it. You won't. You never learn from your lessons. I mean, you never learn lessons from your trials and tribulations. So congratulations. Send me my shit. And thanks. Bye. Right. Yeah. And it wasn't cool, man. It wasn't cool how they did it at all. Like at all.
You weren't doing a lot of press.
This
either
was
on
March
there.
31st too. April 1st, with the day the record came out the next day.
That's insane.
How about that? That's why that was another like punch in the balls. March 31st, they called me and told me. April 1st, the next day, I wake up to people texting me going, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah. Jeez,
Wait,
man.
what? Clint? The record just came out that you just did with these guys, and Clint's back in the band. You know. So, ow.
Yeah.
That wasn't cool.
It's brutal.
But we shall go on.
We shall.
Yeah. There's a guy named Samuel Beckett who said, "I can't go on. I can't go on. I go on."
Hey, that's genius. You should get that on your back, like Daughtry.
There's too much hair back there. I can't. There's none up here, but there's all back there.
Nice.
But you're right. There's a lot more letters than Daughtry, though.
You just take your shirt off every time you go on the tour bus.
Yeah. What's up, yo? Hey. So, Ugly Kid Joe,
Hey,
bro.
look at this, man.
Yeah, look at that shit.
Look at those people.
I was right. This is actually kind of my view. This was in Sofia, Bulgaria. This is about, I don't know, 35,000 people.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
she showed me her boobs.
Did she?
She did. Oh, no, it was her. I'm just kidding. I don't know. They probably neither of them did that. But yeah, Whit Crane, my homie. So check this out. Before this even happened, I'll try to make this one quick. We did, like I was out of the band. We did a Snot reunion.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, dude.
Right? It was at the... it was
Tommy Vicks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2008 was 10-year anniversary of Lynn Strait passing. And Mikey was like, you're not in Sevendust anymore. I think his band In Vitro had broken up.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's do a Snot show. It started as, and so we got to get somebody to sing. So we did a cattle call, man. We did full on like L.A. like everybody, and all these guys. We were in the Roxy on the rocks upstairs at the Roxy, and all these guys came through, and then Tommy Vex came in, bro, and again went through the roof, bro, just like, I mean,
Yeah. Who would have known, man? Bad Wolves now is
Yeah, dude.
humongous.
Massive. And that guy's been busting his ass for that shit.
He's been in several bands too, man.
Yeah, and he's been persevering, man. And so we did a reunion show, and then Devil Driver was like, "Why don't you guys come on tour with us?" And we got a Mudvayne tour. So we did. That was late 08, early 09, I think, and we did a tour. 10 shows of Devil Driver, and then like I don't know 4 weeks with Mudvayne. And I got to tell you, man, I've done a lot of touring sober with a lot of bands I used to party with. Well, Sevendust and Hed PE in particular, and they party hard. That was the hardest tour I've ever done.
Really?
Was the Snot reunion tour. Mikey and Tommy were both
Going
just
hard.
going for it, teeing off on drinking and all the other things. And it was tough, man. It was tough. We had no budget, and we were, and and then we were opening for Mudvayne, and it was like Mudvayne 10 years Snot, and we were, it was like the old Pantera crew was working for Mudvayne, and they just still were trying to act like they were Pantera's crew, just shitting all over the first opening band. And I was like, you motherfuckers used to work for me in Sevendust.
Yeah.
Chill out. Leave my drum tech alone.
Yeah.
Leave my tour manager alone. Why are you messing with my front of house guy? Cut it out. Like I literally had to have, like the Pantera crew, and I was like, come on.
God, that's
What are you guys doing? It's
Yeah.
like Mikey played in Soulfly. You worked for him too. You worked for him. Like, what are you guys doing to our crew? It sucked.
And you left like Snot was on this high level. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. And then we were a baby band again. I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. Sure, great. I love playing with those guys. I hated that because it was demeaning, man. It was, any legacy that anybody wants to talk about was being chipped away at, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
We wrote a couple songs, cool. We might release this one song that Tommy sang on, called "Coulda, Shoulda, Woulda." We may release it eventually.
That's been out though, right? You've
It
been
has.
able-
We did release that. Doc Coyle, actually. I don't know if you ever
Yes,
watched
I heard
his-
it was at the end of the
yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I got a surprise for you. Bing, and he played "Coulda,
Yeah.
Shoulda, Woulda" because he
Yeah,
loves
that's a
that
good
song.
song, man.
It's a great song. Yeah. Logan Mader, formerly of Machine Head.
Machine Head, yeah.
Yeah, he engineered and mixed and mastered it, co-produced.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so anyway, that was gnarly, bro. And so by mid 09, I was like, Mikey, man, I don't want to try to do Snot again. If we're gonna do something, let's call it something else. Let's make a new band. I don't want to try to reboot Snot without Lynn. You kidding me? It's not. It's not Snot.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
It's not.
Snot. I'm speaking of Snot, yeah. But yeah, it is.
I keep thinking of back tattoos. Like it's not Snot.
Yeah.
Does this back say it's not Snot?
Does it say what? And so yeah, dude,
I'm sorry, man.
it's okay. I backed out. I was like, I don't want to do it, man. And I went to school. I went to MI actually for production, for music production, and I got certified in Pro Tools and all these other things so that I could produce bands. So I started doing that for a little while, for 2010. Yeah, 2010. And I was working in LA and I was producing bands and I was doing some co-writes and ghostwriting for some bands or whatever. And then I got a call from Shannon Larkin, the drummer of Godsmack, and he says, "Hey man,
What's your party situation?
he knew it. What's your party situation?
Been sober 20 years.
Oh, it's over fucking forever now, dude. Yeah. So he said, "Hey man, Dave Fortman, the guitar, one of the guitar players of Ugly Kid Joe, went on to be a producer. He produced the All Hope Is Gone, or what was the Slipknot record?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
I think All Hope Is Gone.
I think
maybe?
that's it. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yes. I
He
got
did
it. Yes.
Evanescence. He did Mudvayne. He did Hell Yeah. He's a big producer, mixer also, and he had been producing Godsmack records. So he and Shannon were sitting around one night, and they were in Ugly Kid Joe together previously, and they're like, "Dude, we should do an Ugly Kid Joe record." And they're like, "Hell yeah!" And so they started talking about it, and then Dave was busy with bands that he was producing, so Shannon called me and was like, "Hey man, I heard you're working in production." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "We want to do another Ugly Kid Joe record. We want you to record us and co-produce, engineer and co-produce." And I was all, "Okay." And I had a studio going on in LA with a friend of mine, and so they came in, quick pre-production. We tracked drums. I mean, Shannon's the man, dude.
Yeah.
That guy, he's just a
beast,
He's a master.
Yeah.
He's one of the masters. Period. And so we did drums, bass, done, all guitars. So me and Klaus and Whit in the studio.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm, Whit and I, unlikely friends, really. He's like, it seems like he's this guy that's kind of like flighty and all this stuff. And so there was a little bit of rub here and there. And then I realized, I kind of like went, oh, wait. And I figured out who he is and where that's coming from. And I went, whoa. And once I understood the guy, I was like, he's amazing. And we became dear friends. To this day, we're dear friends.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my God, he's one of my best friends. I love him. That guy, and so one day, as we're getting close to finishing guitars, he goes, hey man, so we're gonna go on a world tour this summer, 2012. And he's like, don't stay in the studio and get fat. Come on tour with me. Dave can't go. Come on tour with me. Come see the world. And I was like, okay, deal. And so I learned a bunch of Ugly Kid Joe songs. Went on tour again, dude. It was like, probably some of my favorite touring was in 2012. We went to Israel, went to
awesome.
all over Europe and the UK. It was awesome, dude.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, and me and Whit was sober at the time because he just wanted to be. He was like, he wanted to try an experiment. He was 44 years old, and he's like, I'm overweight. I smoke cigarettes. I do cocaine and I drink. What would happen if I didn't do all that? And if I exercised and was sober and blah, blah, blah. And suddenly his band's back together. He's putting out a record and he's going on a world tour. And there's like, and so he shows he could have been like, how did he call it? The round rocker.
Yeah.
He's like, I could have showed up. Like, look at where are they now? Look at what Crane, the round rocker.
Yeah.
He did. He showed up what we call Fit Wit.
Fit Wit.
Instead of the round rocker, Fit Wit showed up. Yeah. And so he and we'd wake up in the morning or whenever, get up and be like, we'd have some, all heavy metal hippies. We'd have some granola and some blueberry.
Right.
He'd be like, what do you got? I look on the smartphone. Oh, there's a coffee shop over there. There's a museum over there. There's some water over here. And we'd walk out of the bus and go, let's go this way. Let's get coffee first. We'd sit in a cafe and be like, talk to people. They'd go, yeah, have you ever been to this thing? And we'd start finding these places. He calls it being the marble in the groove. So you take a marble, drop it on the floor. It always finds the groove. That's how we rolled.
Oh, that's cool.
So we would like find our way. And we had magical experiences, dude, touring the world, playing fat shows in front of, you know, we played actually in 2013 to now kind of get current with, since we're getting closer to today. Right after my dad died, man, in 2013, we went and played. In fact, up until that point, I had been playing bass on Cats in the Cradle because they did cover Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah.
The quintessential father and son song,
yes,
right?
amazing.
It's the father and son song. And they did a cover of it in 92. It was massive.
It was great.
Right? Great job doing it. And so I had been playing bass because it was kind of a novelty. Like me and Cordell would switch. He'd give me the bass, I'd give him the guitar, he'd play and sing backups, and I played bass, right? And it was fun, whatever. But then Whit was like, no more. Keep the bass on, Cordell, Sonny, learn it. So I had to learn the song. So the summer of 13, man, when my dad was on his deathbed, I'm sitting there with my phone playing Cats in the Cradle. He's in a coma, and I'm learning this song, And it was fabulous, dude.
Oh,
and heart-wrenching, right? A lot of people don't get that, man.
Yeah.
They don't actually get to have that. I don't want my dad to die, but he was gonna, and I'm gonna too. But to be able to have that experience, man, and he knew, he could hear all that stuff. He was in an induced coma, so he wasn't gone.
Yeah.
He heard
He
it,
could
man.
hear it.
You hear me playing and singing Cats in the Cradle.
That's
too,
amazing.
And so then, after he passed away in June, in August, we did a show. We went on tour, and we did a show, biggest show I've ever played in my life, 600,000 people. Wow. At it was called Polish Woodstock. Massive. It was like Kiss was playing, and it was Ugly Kid Joe. What's up? And it literally looked like Kiss. It was huge, and it was a free concert put on by a charity, and it was a government charity, I think. And so it was free. So 2 million people passed through the gate by the weekend, the end of the weekend. Wow. And so we played on a Saturday night, dude, and it was just like glorious. And I'm playing Cats in the Cradle in front of 600,000 people on a summer night, and I'm crying, And I had already been pulling like, rock faces.
Yeah.
So like this look of sorrow wasn't shocking. Plus I was sweaty, so nobody saw tears. Plus I didn't care.
Yeah.
When else are you gonna cry? That song. And it was beautiful, man. And this summer breeze came through, and it was like I could feel my dad's presence, man. It was special.
That's
dude.
amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And I got to have those experiences with those guys. And Whit and Shannon actually meeting, the way that when they did and the way they did is an insane story that maybe one of them will tell you if they come on the show.
Sure.
Which I hope they do. I'll try to make that happen.
Thank you.
Or help you with that. Those guys don't meet, I'm not sitting here. Those guys don't meet. I don't join Sevendust. I don't join Snot. I'm not in. If they didn't meet, I don't know where. I'd probably either be dead or be in Virginia. Still doing.
Yeah.
Who knows? But that was the thing, was those two guys meeting.
Yeah.
And that started the whole, incestuous band that we've all played in and out of with each other. Because Shannon ended up playing in Snot, and I ended up playing in Ugly Kid Joe, and it's like, and
Full circle.
Shannon and I had a side project with John from Tumor from Snot as well that Klaus ended up playing in. And it's like, and so then we did this thing. Obviously, Ugly Kid Joe likes to take the piss out of everything. So, Stairway to Heaven, Highway to Hell. And so, I don't know why they chose to have me. That's not Dave, that's me. And I don't know why they chose to have me be Malcolm, but they did. He did, really. And I was like, I don't know, maybe Dave was the round rocker and I'm not round. So he's like, but I got to be Malcolm, dude. And here's the funny thing. Everybody wants to be Angus, right? All the guitar players, Angus Young. And I'm all, yeah. But Malcolm, dude. Malcolm's the one that inspired Angus.
True.
Angus was the little brother that heard Malcolm playing and was like, I want to do that, right? And then became that. So I got to be Malcolm.
Nice. All right, man.
Is that it? Are we done with that?
Yeah.
Woo! How long was that?
That was a short one, man.
I was talking fast. It was that coffee.
There you go.
Yeah, and plus we got right to it, because I feel like now if I was trying to do rock to recovery stuff,
Yeah, that's good.
I'd be like, oh, trying to fill it in. So yeah, dude,
Rock to recovery, man.
let's do it like we do in LA. Remember, so it's a
Boom.
slide. It's like this. It's like, let's watch. So be nice and easy. Be loose. Just be like,
Loose.
yeah.
Is that loose?
No,
One
it's
more
still
time.
pretty tight. Yeah, and you can just do like that. You don't even gotta go. Want to do it one time? Here.
Yeah,
right
to
here.
the shoulder,
No,
shoulder.
just stay right
shoulder. All right.
So right here.
All right. That was
So,
amazing.
that
Darkness.
light has
Taking my
dwindled.
sight.
Darkness, you're visiting me. All that I see.
Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Oh,
I got one.
absolute horror.
How's your party situation?
What's your party situation? Do you want to join my band?
Thanks for being on the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Perfect. Should I pull a Jacoby? Or what did he do? Woo!
That sounds about right.
He is fucking lit up, right?
All the time. That's great.
Sitting still makes that guy sweat.
Yes.